Welcome back. Let me now come back to you to continue from where we stopped.
At the end of the day, it is not the duty of President Buhari to go around doing the job of the EFCC or doing the job of whoever should be in charge of investigations. I mean, Fashola, Amechi, and Kemi Adeosun, some of the petitions were actually petitions that were written just before they were appointed as ministers or after they were appointed as ministers. So we could actually say some of those petitions are quite political. And I'm not here holding brief for any of these ministers. If there are clear cases where they have diverted government state funds, I mean, they should be prosecuted. They should be handed over to the EFCC. I'm not going to say no one should be prosecuted. If genuinely anyone has stolen, any one of them has looted public funds, of course, they should be prosecuted.
They get used to lying to themselves to the point that they believe that everybody in Nigeria is a fool. You know, the point that we are now, Nigerians are tired. First Bank, as we speak, First Bank is planning to sack 1,000 workers next week. Those are the issues. People are hungry. Price of food has gone up. Everything that you buy. A lady was telling me that there's this powder they use, this mark powder that they rub on their face. That under Jonathan, it used to be 1,500. Now it's 5,000 naira. That is what we're talking about, corruption.
I think Deji owes Nigerians an apology. President Buhari, with all due respect, is trying to clean the mess that Deji's party created over a period of 16 years. And for me, I find it quite appalling that Deji, having been in power for 16 years, still has that nerve or that audacity to begin to lambast a president that is trying to save their hearts. Going forward, I think what the president has done so far offers us so much hope. The kind of hope we haven't seen or we didn't see under 16 years. I mean, all through 16 years when the PDP was in power. We had a government which had the opportunity of changing the story of Nigeria for good for 16 solid years, and it's all gone, I mean, down the wire, all wasted. And we have a president who is just about 11, 12 months old in office, who has been able to show Nigerians, and moderately, mark my words, moderately, what accountability means. And I ask myself this question every time I read in the papers how much money was stolen in dollars, how PDP gave contracts out to their kids and kin. And I ask myself how much we could have been better off as a people if these resources had been channeled to the right quarters. And no one has given explanations for that.
We're in a serious macroeconomic crisis as I'm speaking. In an instance where the foreign exchange is being, how will I even put it, is very artificial. That's the first point. Going back to Deji's point, the racketeering going on around dollar exchange rate and all sorts of fraud. So the thing is, going back to the foreign exchange alone, that has triggered massive corruption that in the long run is actually sort of destabilizing the economy. As I'm speaking, because of this foreign exchange crisis that we have, there's over 30% drop in imports in the normal trade that goes on. You understand, that's a massive problem on its own. That's the issue. We're looking at unemployment massively increasing, which is obvious. The statistics are there. Crisis in various sectors, crisis in various companies, that supermarkets and all sorts of things. You understand? So going back to Deji's point, the Buhari's foreign exchange policies on its own has triggered massive corruption, which I think at the end of the day will end up sort of harming the country. You understand? That's a macroeconomic aspect.
As we can see today, in just 1 year, less than 1 year, Nigeria was third fastest growing economy in the world. Nigeria is not even among first 15 in Africa as of today. He has ruined the economy. The country, look at the recent corruption index. What are we talking about? How can you say President Buhari is fighting corruption with what we are presently witnessing in the country? They have ruined the economy of this country. I doubt if we can recover in the next 6, 7, 8 years with the calamity they have done in just about 11 months. So, Victor, certainly I do not agree with Deepa's postulations.
Under Goodluck Jonathan, corruption was a free for all. It was like, this is our own turn now. For ministers, directors, senators, everybody, it was just like let's loot as much as possible. And if we had not experienced that much stealing in the last 5 years, if they had saved money
The issue, the level of corruption that is going on in CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, is the kind of corruption that we have never ever witnessed before in the history of this country, where they will give one person $25 million. $25 million, one person. They will give the person $25 million at official CBN rate. They do forex trading and they hoard, dollars. The person goes the next day to sell that same $25 million. See, Naira. What is corruption, if I may ask? This is the kind of, look at what is going, the reason why I say Buhari is the father of corruption is almost 1,000 people or 100 people were recruited into CBN illegally. Buhari's relatives, Dambazau, and his ministers. Have you ever had anybody going to occupy CBN? Have you ever had anybody saying they are going to stop, they're going to sack the CBN governor? They like corruption. Their way of life, private jets, corruption.
But my friend, you should be grateful. He made mention of the fact that all through the 11 months that President Buhari has been in power, we haven't been able to know how much Nigeria has made in terms of our revenue vis-a-vis the TSA that the interestingly his party started and which this new party implemented. But we had a PDP which was in power for 16 years, which didn't even let Nigerians know how much we were making. We didn't even know for once. I mean, off record, on record, it's not anywhere how much we made in a month from our crude oil proceeds. We only got to know how much we lost or how much was siphoned after his party left power. So for me, going back to your question, I think the government has started on a good footing. Yes, there are a few issues that needs to be cleared. Yes, it's looking a little bit one-sided, but for me, the analysis does not even suffice. PDP was in power for 16 years, and it's naturally expected that much of the heat should be on the ex-members or members of the PDP who had the opportunity to change Nigeria's story for good and messed it up. So, moderately, on a scale of 1 to 5, I probably would score this government 5 over 10. I mean, 1 to 5, 4 over 5. 4 over 5 because the so-called untouchables are now being touched. For me, that's a good one. It gives us hope that things can get better. And it also sets a good precedent that if this party, this incumbent APC-led government, if they mess up and they get thrown out in 2019, people can ask questions. We haven't had the opportunity as a people to ask questions over the last 16 years. And for once, Nigerians have been told what went wrong and what went right. And people are raising genuine and genuine questions. So I think that they should swallow the humble pie and apologize to Nigerians on behalf of his party for having messed up the future of generations yet unborn. Having done that, or if he can do that, then we can begin to talk as friends that we are. But off record, Deji, sincerely, you do hold your party and yourself being the new PDP, new media director of the PDP, do hold an apology.
I do agree with everything that Olumuyiwa actually said. I mean, the facts are there. Deji has gone on for 5-10 minutes. He hasn't mentioned names. He hasn't given clear examples. He has just gone on calling President Buhari the father of corruption, throwing the name of NNPC, throwing the name of CBN around. He hasn't given core examples. I've given clear names. I've given names of people who have returned millions, billions back to the EFCC. The presidential, there was a committee that was set up sometimes earlier in the year. 7 billion naira has been recovered from the people who they gave contracts to that did not execute the contracts, from those who did not have any contractual agreements, they just got payments from Dasuki and his and all his people. I mean, all the cases in court, have they even said? I mean, look at Dasuki, look at Alex Bade, look at Olisametu, Diazani. They haven't denied that they did not steal from the nation. All they have done is try as much as possible to get adjournment, to quash the cases. All they have tried as much as possible to do is to see that the case, the justice, I mean that the court process is not, they don't go through the court process. So they are trying to avoid the law. They are trying to get away with what they have done. And under Goodluck Jonathan, they would have gotten away with this.
All right, thank you for your contributions, but that's where we'll have to leave this conversation today. We'll take a quick break. I'll be joined by a legal practitioner to get a legal perspective to this discussion. Join us after this.